everybody, it's Kelly with 𝐖𝐞𝐞𝐤. How are you guys? I am so excited to be here. I am bringing you this amazing project. I am so in love with this cute little vampire. You know, growing up with Sesame Street and the Count and all of that, you gotta love that he was this purple, really cute vampire, right? So when I decided to make a vampire treat box, of course the Count came to mind. So this is what I made, and it's a slider, and it has M&Ms with peanuts, and see how cute the colors are. So I tried to pull all of the same colors into my vampire. So we have the Highland Heather, and we have the pumpkin pie for the ribbon, and we have his little cape ribbon with Parakeet Party. I mean, isn't that amazing how we can just match our colors to go with it? But this is a completely cool slider box with M&Ms inside. So I used a Scary Cute set on the back, because of course you have to tell people who it's from, right? And this cute little vampire is so cute, so I put him in the Highland Heather, of course. I gave him a couple bats and a to and from, and of course, love at first bite, because who doesn't love peanut M&Ms? So this bow comes from this awesome die set that's called Mini Pocket Envelope Dies, and you need this piece here and this piece here to make our bow. And those are the only pieces that I use for this particular project, but I did do an envelope die project last week. So you'll have to, or it might not have been last week. It might have been the week before last. I think it was week 2. So you'll have to check it out. Yes, it was week 2. And it was on day 1, week 2. So check that out, because you will want to see this little envelope in action. This is a great die set. It's a hidden gem in our catalog. People don't check it out, and you need to, because it's amazing. All right, so let me clear this stuff out of the way. I'm going to put him in the corner, and we'll get started working on our cute little vampire. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is make my box. So let's just knock the box out of the way. So you're going to need 2 pieces of basic black cardstock. The first one is 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. And the second one is 5 1/2 by 4. So you can make 2 of these boxes with 1 sheet of cardstock. I'm always loving a box that you can make 2 out of a sheet, you know, so that's always a win, right? So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab my Simply Scored, and we are going to get started making our box. So the way that the box works, so exciting. We're going to lay it here. Actually, I have a revision to the measurements, because I forgot that I altered it just slightly. It's 3 1/8 by 5 1/4. I think I said 3 1/4. So 3 1/8 by 5 1/4, and then 5 1/2 by 4. So what we're going to do is we are going to score the smaller piece, which is the 3 1/8 by 5 1/4 inch piece. And this is going to be scored at 5/8 of an inch all the way around. So let's grab our stylus. So 5/8 is 5 ticks, or 1 tick past the 1/2 inch. So that's what I'm going to use, 1 tick past the 1/2 inch. So we're going to go there, 1 tick past the 1/2 inch, 1 tick past the 1/2 inch. Whoops, I did the wrong one. 1 tick past the 1/2 inch, and 1 tick past the 1/2 inch. I was thinking in my brain 1/2 inch, but it's okay. No one will see it. It'll be inside of our box. So one thing is, when you do make mistakes like that, just make sure that you go all the way through the right score marks one more time to really press it in, because that way you'll be ready to fix that problem. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. So let's do the second piece. This is the larger of the two. This is the 4 by 5.5 inch. And so this one forms the outside. The smaller one makes the box itself, the pull-out part, this part, and the larger one makes the wrap, okay? So this is going to be the slider wrap, and we're only going to score it on the long side, so the 5.5 inch side. So we're going to score it at 5/8 of an inch. Again, 1 tick past the half. 2 5/8 of an inch, which is 1 tick past the 2.5 inch mark. 3 1/4, which is 3 and then two dashes here. And then 5 1/4, which is 5 and 2 dashes. Okay, so this is going to wrap around. So that's all we need our simply scored for. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my bone folder. We're going to burnish on all of these lines. And I'm going to show you when I go to burnish the one that I made that error on. I'll show you what I do to that one. But this is going to be our sleeve. This is the piece that forms the outside of our box. And remember, the box is going to be inside. So this is the wrap. I call it the wrap. This is our box. So here's the mistake I made. I went too soon. So the second line is the one I want. So this first line, I'm going to just rub over the top of it and kind of flatten it out with my bone folder in the spots where it is. So using that tip of your bone folder, you can kind of help yourself to not see that little extra mark there, right? So now let's actually score it on the right mark, which is the 5/8. And then we're going to go all the way around our box. And here's the last piece. All right, so this is our box. And this is our wrap. So the wrap doesn't need anything cut into it. We're just going to put glue on this skinny 1/4 inch piece. And we're going to glue this 1/2 inch or this 5/8 inch piece right onto that. So that's going to be one. Now this one for the box itself, we have to make it into the box. So we do have to do a little bit of trimming. So we're going to just trim on all 4 sides. I'm going to trim straight up. And I'm going to angle cut right there. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here, straight up and angle cut right there. Okay, I want to delete that little score mark, so I'm going to go straight up. And then by angle cutting, it gets rid of that score mark on the tab. And we're going to do it one more time. And then I will go ahead and lay it down if you want to grab a screenshot. So that's what it looks like when you're done cutting. So this one is just scored, and then that one's cut. So if you want to take a quick screenshot, go ahead and grab that. Now don't forget, guys, all of the products that I used today are going to be linked in the description below. And I have used some punches that we do not have. Stampin' Up! Does not have a lot of circle punches and a lot of small punches at all. But I love punch art. I love paper piecing. And so I have lots of punches, and I highly recommend that you slowly build up your collection of circle punches, especially in all different sizes, because it helps make the cutest projects. So let's go ahead and glue this together. So I'm going to grab my silicone mat here. I'm going to turn this piece in. I'm going to add just a line of adhesive up this skinny 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to bring this 5/8 inch piece up to it. And once I have it set where it's at least grab that 1/4 of an inch, I'm going to open it and then I'm going to press it this direction. And by doing that, I'm able to get my bone folder and really give it a nice crease so that it, and a nice pressure so that it bonds to that 5/8 inch side. So now there's our sleeve. Now let's put our box together. So all of these 4 tabs are going to get glue on them. And I'm just going to do 2 at a time. So let's do this side first. and then this side. So we're going to do this long side first here. Put a little bit more. Sometimes I get carried away and I put too much glue and then I regret it, but hopefully I won't today. All right, so I'm turning these little sides up so that they meet and form a nice right angle there, okay? We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Turn this one inside and go ahead and make that corner. So now we're gonna put adhesive on these two tabs, and then we're gonna bring this one up to seal it, okay? So let's go ahead and put it on this one, and then put it on this one, and then we're gonna start. I'm gonna start first by just kind of holding it for a second, and then I'm gonna make sure that it's nice and straight and that my corners meet up with that score mark. Okay, so even though I made that mistake, you can't see it because remember I rubbed it out, but it's right there on this side. And you're not going to notice it because it's going to be in our box. Like this is going to be pushed inside. So we're going to punch a hole here. So what I like to do is I like to put my ruler, and it's just a hair under 2 inches because it has to be able to slide into this piece. So what we're going to do is we're not going to do it right at the 1 inch mark. Okay. I'm going to actually slide this over so that this is overhanging and the 2 is overhanging. And then I'm going to mark with a pencil right there at the center. And then I'm just going to bring that pencil mark down because I want it to be right about there in the middle. And I'm just going to use a handheld punch, and this one's 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to bring my punch straight in as far down as it's going to go. And then I'm just going to give it a punch, okay? So that is going to be where I put my ribbon. Now, let's talk about our ribbon. So the ribbon, we don't have a pumpkin pie ribbon. But that's not going to stop me because I wanted it to be pumpkin pie. So I'm going to grab a scrap piece, and I'm going to take my pale papaya ribbon, which I have cut to 6 inches, okay? And I'm just going to lay it over this scrap piece of paper. I'm going to take my Stampin' Blend, and I'm just going to start running the side of the brush tip over the top of my pale papaya ribbon. And I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to do the other side. Okay? And I'm just going to give that a nice fullness and a brightness like that. Now you can see that when you do that, your tip gets light. It's because you've deposited a lot of ink on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cover on it, and I'm going to stand it like this in my basket next to me. And by the time I'm done with this whole project, when I look at it, oh, look, it's already starting to fill. See? It's already filling that back up. So I like to do that whenever I use too much on one side so that it starts flowing down into that tip, and then it should be good. I can lay it back flat on its side again. So right now it's just propped up. So here's my ribbon. I'm gonna go ahead and fold it in half, and I'm gonna make a knot on this end, okay? Because I want the loop where I'm gonna grab it, okay? So I'm gonna make a knot on this end. So I'm just actually gonna make a knot like this. I'm gonna pull these 2 pieces through, and then I'm gonna push this knot to this end where these little, where these 2 ends are here. I'm just gonna kind of slide it, but I don't want it to come all the way out, right? So I'm going to keep pulling and then sliding and pulling and sliding until I have a nice fat knot on this end. And then all I'm going to do is just trim this just slightly. So I'm just going to give it a slight trim, and I'm going to throw those pieces away. Now we're going to weave this through that hole we made. So we're going to go ahead and slide this in, and make sure it comes out the other side. And the little knot is on the inside, okay? So now you have your pull to pull this piece through. Let's go ahead and stick it in there. And let's work on the back. So we're gonna do our stamped piece. And we're gonna use our Highland Heather. We're gonna start with that Love at First Bite. I'm gonna pull this down here. And that's what's gonna get stamped at the bottom. So there's that, okay? And then we're gonna do our little vampire. So cute he is. And then he is gonna go right above that Love at First Bite. Perfect. That's it for this Highland Heather for right now. I'm gonna revisit it. Just give me a minute. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean my stamps as I go. We're gonna do Memento for the To From and for the bats. My Memento is our Tuxedo Black. So let me grab that. And then we'll be done with this. We can go ahead and attach it onto our box. So here is our bat and our To From. All of these are from the Scary Cute set. And by the way, the dies, I have used them all these 4 weeks, so you definitely want to get the bundle. Plus, you save 10% when you purchase the bundle. So it is nice to do that. I'm going to put bats on this side and on this side. So there's our bats, and then let's get our To From and ink that up nicely. And we're going to put that over here near the top. Just like that, To From. All right, so you can write who it's from. Let's close our ink pad. That's it for stamping on this project, but we are going to use the Highland Heather ink again when we start making our little vampire, because I want him to have a little shading, and I'm going to use it for the shading. Okay, so now this is going to get attached to the bottom of our box. So this is the front, right? So this is the bottom. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat again. I'm going to run some of my wet adhesive all the way around, and then in the middle. And let's go ahead and pick this up and attach it onto the bottom of our box. And this piece is 1 7/8 by 3 7/8. Okay, 1 7/8 by 3 7/8. So there is the bottom. All right, let's put some M&Ms in this puppy. So I bought just a bag of M&Ms. You could put a package of M&Ms if you wanted in there. But I love these, and I think they're cool because they come in the 4 colors that I used. Let's see, where's the purple ones? Do we have any purple ones? Oh my goodness, we need some purple ones. I'm gonna dump them all over my table until I find some purple ones, because we have to have some purple ones in here, right? Well, a couple more green, maybe another orange in the back there. Let's see if there's any more purple. I mostly have green. Oh my goodness, look at that. Put a purple one there. Let's see if there's any more purple. Oh, they were in the bottom. All right, we'll put another purple. Let's add another green and another orange. All right, so now I have to fill my bag back up with the mess that I made of M&Ms. But you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do to have the right colors. Look at that. One of the M&Ms was crunched. I'm gonna have to eat him. It's like he's like begging me, please eat me. Okay, I will. All right, let me put these in here. Of course, I made the tiniest hole in this bag because I didn't want them to go stale. There's hardly any purple in this bag. I hope that you guys get a bag that has more purple than mine is. All right, we're gonna start working on our little vampire next. And you're gonna love him. I am going to include the pattern that I made, and I'm going to show you how I came up with this little vampire. All right. So let's get this out of the way, clean off any M&M stray crumbs that we may have. All right, so we have, here's some pieces. This is hair and his face and his cape. We are going to make him a really cool bow, which I told you I was using that die. There, that is right there. Let's flip him over. All right. So what I did first is I decided I wanted to make a vampire, and I sketched out how I wanted him to look. Okay. And you can see he came pretty close. I did a pretty good job with my little sketches. This is how I come up with my ideas. So then what you want to do is you want to make a pattern. And so I made a pattern for the hair and for the cape and for his face out of just scrap paper that I had lying around. Just like that. And so I cut those out already so that you guys didn't have to sit here and watch me do that. And this pattern is going to be available. I will have it as a PDF for free that will be available on my newsletter. So make sure you're subscribed so that you can get that. Then I used a bunch of 1/2-inch circles. I used them for his eyes and for his nose. Okay, so there's his lids and his nose, and then there's his white and the gray of his eye, and there's his red of his eye. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on sponging our little face, and then we'll do the eyes. So I'm going to grab my scrap paper, the one that I used for my ribbon. Remember when I did the ribbon on there? See, it has a little purple. So I used a dauber. I have to find it now in my basket. Here it is. So I have the daubers set aside for my ink colors. So I'm just going to pick up some Highland Heather. I'm just going to make sure it's not too much because I don't want to overwhelm his little face. So I'm going to go around, and I'm just going to kind of go around the edges first, give him some color. And I also want to give him some color in the middle, but I went around the edges first because it's okay if it's darker there. I don't want there to be a lot of darkness in his face. So his eyelids, we're going to trim, and I'm going to use my paper snip. So this is a 1/2-inch circle. I don't want it to be right at half. I want it to be a little less than half. So I'm going to cut it right there. And then so that his other eyelid is the same size, I'm going to actually layer that on top of the first one, okay, and hold it in place so that they're the same. And then I'm going to trim right along the edge of that first one, okay, and there's his 2 eyelids, okay. So we're not going to ink those up yet because they're too small. I want to wait till everything's attached. Now, for the gray, what I did was I wanted him to have kind of like a little outline around his eye. So what I did was I made kind of a little moon shape. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to kind of make a little moon shape like that. See that little moon shape? And then this piece I'm just going to discard. So let's do that moon shape one more time. And it doesn't really matter if it's perfect because it's going to be covered mostly with the eyeball. Only a small edge where the punch already punched is going to show. So if it's not perfect, don't sweat it. Let's work on his nose. I wanted his nose to be this size, but I didn't want it to be a perfect circle. So I'm going to leave the circle on this end, just like I did with the eye area that was gray. Only I'm going to start here. I'm going to kind of oval his nose by just cutting off a small portion of this section of the top. And then I'm just going to kind of round it a little, just slightly, and make sure that it doesn't look like chopped off. So there's his nose, okay? Now his eyes, they're just gonna get glued just like this. Okay, we're also gonna give him some teeth. I just used a scrap piece of basic white, and I just decided I'm gonna make a tooth like this, and I just made a tooth, okay? And then I'm gonna do another one. And because that's kind of my guide, I know how far down to go. And I'm just gonna do my best. They don't have to be perfect. So let me make sure I get it all the way down. I definitely want that to be a nice sharp point at the end. So make sure that I chop it. So there's his 2 teeth. Now see, I did get that one a little bit crooked, so I'm just gonna straighten it out just slightly. And I love these paper snips because they cut so close. They're perfect. So there's his little fangs. Again, I just used a scrap piece of white. So I'm gonna cut this piece off in case I need it again, or if in case I don't like the way those teeth look when I put them together. Okay, so now for his eyebrows. So for his eyebrows, I decided I wanted them to be peaked. So I just grabbed a scrap piece and I started just kind of how I did the fangs. So I made a triangle, okay? And then I made another one over here, and you can see that I use it as my guide to kind of make my second one, okay? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold on to those and I'm just gonna cut straight across, and that's gonna give me 2 triangles, okay? So I have this one right here. There's one. And here's my other one that's right there in the middle. I just need to trim these edges off. Here's my second triangle. Okay. And I started with that. Let's throw away these little pieces that were in between those 2 triangles, and I don't need the rest of this piece. We'll just put it off here to the side. All right. So then I took my triangles and I made them into eyebrows by cutting another smaller triangle in the center. So I'm just trimming, and then I'm going to come from this side and trim. There's one. Now they're a little long. We're going to trim them up as we need to. And this one's a little wide, so I'm just going to narrow it slightly. Okay, and then I'm going to come up. I'm going to make this one narrow. And then this one narrow. And let's pull that away. So that's what I started with. Okay. And we're going to trim those as we go. All right. So now we kind of have all our little parts and pieces. Here's our bow. Here's our hair. Here's our face. Here's our cape. And all of our parts. These are extras. I'm going to move those out of the way. So now I'm going to grab my silicone mat. I'm going to glue my little eyes together. I am going to use the sponge in a minute, but I'm going to close this just in case. I don't want to stick my hand in there. So I want to go ahead and attach my eyes. So I'm going to put the little reds in the center, and this is real red. It's just a scrap piece of real red. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little dab of multi-purpose glue here on those eyes. Okay. I'm going to grab my tweezers, and I want this to be real close to this edge here, but I want some big room on this side. So you can see that's the first one. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put it where it's kind of close to the edge on this side. Okay, so that's how I did the red. Let's attach the little moon pieces. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of wet adhesive. Now remember, this is the edge that's going to show, so I'm going to put a little bit, just a tiny bit, right there on our moon. And now we're going to place our eye on top of the moon there, see? So it just gives it a little slight gray on the outer portion of that eye. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to attach that, and I'm going to make sure that it's just a slight, and it's the same amount approximately. So if I have to push it in, I will. That's why I love this multi-purpose glue, because it definitely gives you some room. Okay, now comes the lids of the eyes. So I'm going to put these eyes real close together, and then we're going to put the lids on. So I'm just going to put adhesive on the back of both of these little half circle pieces. They're not fully halves, they're a little less than half, but I'm just going to call them half circles for right now. And you can see I'm not using a ton of glue. I'm just kind of moving that glue around that I put down. I'm not actually squeezing any more out. So I'm grabbing this with my tweezer. Now the eyelid, I'm going to put it kind of slightly angled, and I don't want to cover the gray. So I want it to just cover the white of his eye. So there's that one. And I'm going to move it up slightly. Let's do the second one. I'm going to cover just the white and move it up slightly. All right, so there's his eyes, okay? We have his little nose. That's what he looks like so far. Super cute, right? Oh my gosh, he's so cute. So to get his little dots in his eyes, I gave him some classic matte dots, and there's some real small ones. I'll show you what the full package looks like, because this one's almost finished. But you get quite a bit. You get large and small white, large and small vanilla, large and small gray, and large and small black. So I'm using the smallest one. See, this one here doesn't have any big black ones left, only little. So that's what I'm going to use. I don't need to use my new one right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put the dots in his eyes. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm just going to grab my putty end here, okay? And I'm going to give him a dot right there. And the dot really helps the eye pop. So there's that one. There's the second one. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I love him. All right, so there's his little eyes. All right, now we would like to add a little shading, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my Highland Heather, and I'm just going to grab my scrap paper back in. I'm going to do the nose also. I'm just going to dab it over the top like so. Just adding a little bit of purple, but not too much, especially near the edges. And then for the eyes, I'm going to actually hold this section here and just do the top part of the lid. You can see I'm not adding any more ink because this still has plenty of ink on it. So I'm just rubbing the ink that's left on the top section of the eye like that. See, isn't he cute? So cute. And his little nose, just want to make sure that he has a little coloring, and he does. So there's his little nose. All right. That's it for inking. Now, let's get everything together. I need to grab my, what do you call it? Black Right markers, because when I put his fangs on, I need to have, so I have our Stampin' Right marker, which is 005. And then I have, this one by 𝐸𝐸 that I have that's an 065. Now we don't have an 065 for Stampin' Up. So if you need a little wider, you want to buy a different tip. And if you are a paper crafter, you probably have already a bunch of pens. So just grab one of the ones you have. You can also use a Sharpie. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach his hair onto his little face, okay? And I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals that are black, and we do have them. They're a combo pack, so you get small and large with it. Now, the reason I'm using the black ones is because I'm putting it on the black paper, and it really helps to keep it nice and hidden. So here is where his hair comes on, okay? That's where that's going to be placed. So I need minis on either end here, and I'm going to put one in his peak, okay? So we need 3 of these. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to put one on each end like that. And then I'm going to put one here on his little peak. There we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pull the backs off, and I'm just going to attach it to him while he's on the silicone mat. So if I have any pieces that are sticking out, it's going to stick to the mat. I don't have to worry. So we got to find where his little hair, how it fits good. Let's move his nose out of the way. And you just want to bring it down. Make sure you can see both of his ears. And adjust his hair if you need to move it over a little. Just like that. He is so cute. So there is his hair. Okay. Let's lay his eyes where they're going to go. But I'm not going to glue them yet. You're going to start seeing him come to life. Oh my gosh, he's already so cute. So I like to put his eyes close together. And then his little nose, I'm going to put it right there, but I'm going to pop it up. So for the nose, it's not on black. So I'm just going to get a mini dimensional in the regular color. And we're just going to put one of those on there. I'm going to pull the back off, and I'm going to start with his nose first. Okay. So I need to make sure that I have room for his eyebrows. So I want to bring it down slightly. So his eyes are kind of even with where his hair ends, where his sideburns are. So, and his nose kind of overlaps his eyes. So that's what you're doing with his little nose, okay? So there's his nose. Now that we have his nose on, I'm just gonna leave his eyes. We're gonna work on the eyebrows. So they're a little too long. I've already told you this. We start with that, and then we're gonna start cutting across with my paper snips. So I'm just gonna bring my paper snips up and cut straight across. And then I'm gonna place it and see how it looks. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I'm in love with this little guy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's see how this one looks. Perfect. Oh my gosh, I love it. So let's put his eyes on so we know where his eyebrows go. These are just going to get the wet adhesive. So I'm going to put one on this one. Grab my tweezers. He's so cute. So I'm going to put his eyes pretty close together. So there's number one. Let's get his next eye. Flip that one. Put a little wet adhesive on the back. And put that one into place. Oh my goodness, you're so cute, my friend. Okay. So there is his second eye. Now let's do his eyebrows. So I'm just going to use my tweezers and slide them out here. Okay, I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to kind of hold on to that one, and I'm just going to put a little dots. I don't want to put too much adhesive, and sometimes this adhesive can get dangerous and you can put way too much. So just don't squeeze, just be gentle, wait for it to come out. So there's that one. We're going to give him his eyebrow right here. And we're going to slide it down. I don't want it to stick up into his hair, so I want to slide it down and kind of angle it a little. Okay, a little tilt to it. Let's do the other one. Put a little adhesive on the back. He's coming together pretty quick. All right, so there's his little other eyebrow. We're gonna put that one on this side. Give it a little tilt. So it's pretty close to his eye there, but you want to see some of that top of his hair. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. All right, so let's move that one, make them even. See how he's coming along just perfect? I think he's pretty cute. All right, so let's give him a mouth. So when I did the mouth, I wasn't brave enough to just go right in with the marker. So I'm just gonna use my pencil here. And I'm just gonna trace and make sure that I have a nice smile and I'm happy with it, and I am. So I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do a wide, and I'm gonna go over that with my marker. And then I'm gonna go over it one more time. I want it to be pretty thick. So I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker even than the 6.5 by kind of going right alongside of it. And the reason I want it thick is I'm about to add his teeth, and I want the mouth to show next to the teeth. So let's go ahead and bring our teeth in. Add a little bit of wet adhesive onto them. And we're almost finished. So let's put a little bit right there. And when I say a little bit, I really don't mean a lot, but sometimes I can't see good with the white paper because this adhesive is white and I put too much. So forgive me if I tell you a little bit and then I have a lot because it's unintentional. All right, so there's that thing. And you're gonna ride that right along his little smile, okay? Just like that. Let's get his other one. I'm kind of doing them upside down because it kind of helps me to make sure that I'm even here. All right. He looks pretty awesome. So there's his little face. Oh my gosh, how cute is he? So now we're gonna put his cape. So his cape is gonna go right about there, okay? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it where I want it. I want it to go right about there, and I'm gonna flip this over. And what I'm gonna do is, since no one's gonna see the back, I'm gonna take a pencil mark, okay? That's where that's gonna go. And we are going to attach this with dimensionals. So I'm gonna use the black ones again. So I'm gonna put one here, and one there, okay? So let's get my take your pick tool, pull the backs off. And then now that I have my paper marked, I'm going to go ahead and attach my cape on, but I'm not gonna press it just in case I have to slide it over. And I think I did good with him, so he looks pretty awesome. So there he goes. He's gonna sit on this box like this. Now, this is gonna get glued flat onto my box, but this needs dimensionals. So this bottom section needs double dimensionals because it was lifted already once for the face. So I'm gonna put double. So I'm gonna pull the backs off of these. Whoops. I forgot to throw these in the trash. Let's do that now while I'm thinking about it. Pull that back off there. So I have to put a second dimensional over the tops of these. And then I'm going to do a single layer on the rest. This is the only part that's lifted. So let's go ahead and do that. And then let's figure out where they're gonna go. So it looks like his ears hang off, and we're pretty safe putting it on the back of his head, but just not where the ears are. So I'm gonna give it one here. Let's put one down here. And then I'm gonna do two minis. We'll put one here and one over here. All right, let's pull the backs off. And then the rest of the cape is just gonna get wet adhesive because it's gonna just sit right onto that piece. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put wet adhesive in the center section like that. And the rest of it is gonna be popped up. So we're gonna bring this down so I can see a little better. We're gonna go ahead and lay him on our box. Oh my gosh, he is so cute. All right, so that's what we have so far. Let's go ahead and put our bow together. So let me explain how to make this bow. So the paper bow has 2 die pieces to make it. We're gonna just use some wet adhesive. I'm gonna show you how to do that. So what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna use my bone folder and I'm gonna curl these ends, because this is what forms the bow section, the top, not the tails, but the actual bow. And so I'm going to put adhesive right in the centerpiece, just like this. And I'm just going to bring this tab and touch it to that piece and hold it. I'm going to put my bone folder there to give it some pressure. Then I'm going to put, whoops, I'm going to hold it a little longer. I guess I have to hold that a little longer for it to grab. But then I'm going to put adhesive on that same spot. And then I'm going to bring this piece over. Now you see why I curled it so that it forms a nice, pretty bow. And I'm going to hold on to that for a second. Make sure that it stays pretty good on there. Okay, so there is my bow form. You see how it has that nice little open section? Now we're going to wrap this with this part, okay? So we're going to wrap it and make it really pretty. So what's going to happen is this is going to wrap here. This piece is going to tuck on the bottom. So let's just do that part first. I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive here. And it's actually going to come this way and attach to the bottom. So let's just put this up and put it to the bottom. I'm just going to hold it. Gonna hold it there just for a second. And then we're gonna put more adhesive on this back and we're gonna flip it over one more time. Watch this. Ta-da! So cute you are. I love paper bows, like addicted to them. All right, so there is that. And of course you can puff this up a little if you want, if you've smushed it slightly, making your bow. But there is our paper bow, and my fingers had a little bit of glue on it, so I'm going to grab my eraser here, and I'm going to erase that glue right away. Okay. All right, so now we're going to attach this onto our, so I'm going to put just a little bit right here, and then down. And we're going to put the bow right here on him. Oh my gosh, he's so cute, isn't he? So I'm going to press, and then I'm going to push these little pieces down. Whoops. Oh my goodness, I'm just so excited. Okay, let's do that one more time. Let's hold it for a second for it to grab. He's pretty cute, really cute. All right, let's move my silicone mat. How precious is this cute little vampire? So we have used the, let's see, we've used the Scary Cute set for the back, remember? And we used the envelope, mini pocket envelope dies for the bow. And I hope that you enjoyed this process. It's been super fun working on him. I love how he turned out. I hope that you did too. And if you stuck with me to the end, thank you so much. I hope it was worth it for you. And I will see you next time. All of the products are linked in the description below. Thanks for being here. Share my video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!